Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Goals Podcast. I'm Dawn, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. This podcast is dedicated to bringing people's stories to light and hearing their journeys of inspiration and self-growth. But it's also about connection and knowing that you are not alone. Each week, I get the chance to sit down and talk with an amazing soul, someone I've had the blessing of either meeting or following in my life. I am so grateful for my guests. Their openness and their vulnerability, it is unmatched as we share heartfelt conversations together about both their challenges and their triumphs. I hope that you can grab some inspiration and connection from my guests and their stories. I know I certainly have with each conversation. What an honor to sit with these brave souls. Everyone has a story, folks. And every story matters. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Soul Goals. My name is Dawn. So glad to have you joining us today and super pumped to have this guest on the show today, Miss Cathy Cram of Middle Tennessee, but originally from the Philippines. And as soon as she opens her mouth and starts speaking, you will understand she is definitely thick accent from the Philippines. And I just want to say before you start talking, Cathy is one of the fieriest, most favorite people in our family. She was a volleyball coach that was involved with both of my daughters, both of their paths when they were both playing indoor many moons ago, a long time ago. And I want to just tell you my favorite memory of learning who you were. And I don't know if I've shared this with you before, but here goes. So Amanda, my older daughter, was on a team that practiced on the court beside yours back when she was, I don't know, was she in sixth grade, maybe sixth or seventh grade? And I just remember going and watching one of her practices, and you had your team there early. And they were starting 15 minutes before the top of the hour, while Amanda's team were just lacing up their shoes and kind of starting to warm up and chatting with each other. And I watched and I was like that lady means business. Like, she's running a tight ship. She's got her stuff together. She knows what she's doing. And I was like, I want that person to be coaching my kids. Like, I want that drive to be instilled in my kids moving forward. And I really believe, and Amanda, but both my kids will say this to you, both Amanda and Kate will say, like, fundamentally having those coaches at those early times that were demanding of your best, demanding that you bring out your best, bring your A game every time you show up on the court to whatever sport it is that you're doing, is so valuable to them moving forward in their life, because now Amanda's starting her senior year of playing collegiate sports. And my younger one is getting ready to start college a year and a half from now, playing her collegiate sport as well. So there's a fundamental, a big foundation that happened, I believe, when we met you, Cathy Cram, all those years ago. So
thank you so much, Don, for the nice introduction. And it's been a pleasure coaching both your kids. I'm really thankful for the opportunity that you gave me during those years.
Oh, well, the feeling is mutual. It really is. And I will say too, like, you've been a coach for how many years now? Do you know how long? How many years?
Here in the United States, I've coached the past 11 years at the high school level and 13 years for club.
Okay.
I also coached some youth leagues when I was still in the Philippines. And for a year, I was an assistant coach at the university where I played for.
Yeah. So how tall are you, Cathy?
I'm 5'2".
Okay. Cathy is 5'2", and she played at the university
as an outside hitter. But people in the Philippines are mostly short, so it was not a surprise to play that position. And way back then, I can say I can jump high.
Yeah.
Good vertical. Yeah.
Yeah. I do also, I will say this, as crucial as it is for you to instill in your athletes that, hey, demanding the best out of yourself is like the biggest thing that you can do for your success, because that carries across all platforms, not just your sport, but life in general. I just want to say another thing you told one of my kids during a lesson that they had was like, don't let your size limit you. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. You have
Yes,
to believe that you can do it. And I think that started when you're a 5'2" outside hitter. you
yes,
know?
yes. Because if you will not believe in yourself, then who else will? So it really needs to start within you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about growing up in the Philippines and how all that shaped you, because I really feel like maybe culturally that was a big piece for you that you bring to your coaching.
Well, I have a lot of great memories growing up in the Philippines, as well as bad ones.
Yeah.
Growing up, my family lived with my maternal grandparents. It is common in Filipino culture for kids to, live with their parents even after they get married and have kids.
Yeah.
So we stayed in this huge house. We occupied one of the big rooms. I did not really have my own room growing up. It's always
Okay.
like I would share it with my family or I would share it with my siblings. Because it's a big house, my older cousins would always come.
Yeah.
We would always get together. We're closely knit. We would have parties. We would have nice things.
Hmm.
Each of me and my siblings have our own nanny. They were well off. My maternal grandparents. On my paternal side, um, they're not that well to do, but my grandmother named Andrea, she took care of 9 kids, raised them on their own,
Oh,
and I
wow.
actually named my daughter Andrea after her. I was more like
Oh,
yeah, I was more like a tomboy because most of my neighbors my age were boys. So
okay.
I like going outside, riding my bike, playing marbles, and I was very athletic.
Yeah. Well, you had to keep up with them, it sounds like.
Yes.
And there was a lot of you.
And I was the oldest in a brood of five. So, and
Okay.
we each have 3 years age gap. So if I was like 11 years old, the one next to me is just what 8 years old, and then
Yeah.
so on. Yeah,
And you were the oldest. As the oldest, did you feel like responsible for taking care, for helping?
definitely until now, that's how I feel about my siblings and my family.
Yeah. What is the biggest difference if you think back to your time in the Philippines versus now living in the United States? What do you think was the biggest culture shock for you when you moved here? What was the hardest thing for you to go, whoa, that's so different?
Well, here, kids are like raised more like independent.
Mm,
Like the kids are usually supposed to move up, but by the time they're 18 years old,
yeah.
like there we like to be together either after we get married. So when I moved here, we had to do things on our own. All my relatives are in the Philippines. Just relatives are all in Seattle, so we had to take care of the kids on our own.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge for me, but you know, slowly you learn to adjust, and you just need to do what you gotta do for your family.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, and imagine coming from a household where you all were together, that close knit kind of community that your family became for you, and then not and having to do all that stuff on your own. It's not, and I don't think that it's a lack of you not wanting to do it on your own. It's just it's a whole different experience than you've ever had to do before. So, I mean, do you feel like that maybe had a piece of shaping you as well into the person that you are today?
going back to my time in the Philippines, like what I said, my grandparents were, well-to-do on the maternal side. When I was in middle school, we moved out, so my parents were able to buy our own house.
Okay.
But we lost the family home like a few years after because of my dad's gambling problems. He lost his job. My
Mm.
parents separated, so now my mom had to raise all 5 kids on her own. At one point, we were even, I can say, homeless
Oh, wow, Kathy.
because we had to live with a friend for like a couple of months until my mom was able to save some money.
Oh, wow.
So I've experienced having nothing. And if you know me, you know I love to eat rice for every meal. So
Yes.
I remember there were like days where I can only eat crackers for lunch because
Mm.
we could even afford to buy a kilo of rice and we can only eat rice during dinner. And then I saw the struggle that my mom had to go through. And
Yeah.
then when my parents decided to reunite, my dad became more abusive. So it was during those years that I had to go through some of the worst days of my life that I would not want for anybody to experience. So that kind of like shaped me into who I am now. Volleyball became my outlet. When
Yeah.
I'm on the court, I forget about my problems. I wanted to be so good, to work
Mhm.
hard because I wanted to help my mom.
Right.
My goal was to get a scholarship in college so that I can at least help her in
Yeah.
raising all of me and my siblings. Now,
Yeah.
before my dad passed away, he was only 54. He died of stroke. The day before he passed away, I actually talked to him. And
Okay.
I told him that, like, I've forgiven him for everything that he has done to us. He could not talk back because he was there in the hospital, could not
Mhm.
talk anymore, but the doctor told us that he can still hear us.
Mhm.
So I told him that I'd forgiven him for everything. And he could not say any words anymore, but I saw tears flowing from his eyes, which was more like him, like maybe apologizing for everything too.
Yeah.
And that same day he passed away. So that kind of like put a closure on all those bad things that happened to me growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. Extremely closure that you needed, it sounds like. Yeah. And
So that kind of helped me too in a way, like when I moved to the United States, like, to be strong.
yeah.
Because now we're just on our own. And
Yeah.
it's not common here in the United States where you want to ask for help from relatives and just, have an answer right away. So, yeah,
Yeah. How hard was it to leave your mom?
very hard. I wish I can bring her here, but, you got to go through the process, spend
Mhm.
a lot of money on that. But thankfully, because of technology, I still see her and all of my siblings.
Yeah. Tell
So,
me about going back to your volleyball roots. When did you discover that volleyball and maybe even sports in general was an outlet for you that helped you in the household with all the different things that you were going through?
it was my older cousin Emily who introduced me to the sport. All my
Okay.
older cousins, they play the sport. So she introduced me to it, and I kind of like it. We
Yeah.
actually would play on open court, concrete, and
Concrete.
yes, and it's always humid and hot in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So we would play like on the street. That's how we do our summer leagues.
Oh
Even
my
if
gosh.
even if it's a covered court, it was still concrete. It's very rare that you would have a nice wooden court to practice on. I
So
actually a
is
couple
it
of
still like that?
yeah, until now. I actually wanted to show you a couple of pictures, although the audience will not see like
Yeah.
where I played in the Philippines.
Okay.
It's my middle school and elementary school.
Oh my goodness. It's a concrete court.
Yes, open court. Yeah,
Well,
and this is my high school.
oh, look at that.
Yeah.
You guys, if you can't see these pictures, it's amazing. It's so different than what you're experiencing here in the United States.
Yeah, and even when I went to college, I was a collegiate athlete. The court where I practice is not as nice as what we have here in the United States. I
Mm.
remember my mom wanted me to go to the university when she graduated, so she actually accompanied me for my college tryout. I was the only one who brought a parent.
Okay, so you went were you
I was
were
a walk-on.
enrolled in university
I was
and
a walk-on.
you were a
Yeah.
walk-on.
So I went to the tryouts with my mom, but I guess I was good enough because of all the trainings that I had
Yeah.
growing up that I was able to get a scholarship for 5 years, and I even started right away as a freshman. Yeah, my coaches when we were young, oh, they were tough on us. Like I remember one of them would put popsicle sticks on the bend of our elbows
Wait, popsicle sticks on your elbows.
so that
Okay.
when we passed the ball, we would keep our platform straight. So we
That's
were good.
wow.
We were good passers. We during my time we don't use our hands for doing like like passing
Yeah.
or setting. We would always use our forearm.
Wow.
And then my middle school coach, I remember she would make us chew ginger because she said it helps with being nervous. So he would do ginger while we were playing games. Yeah.
That's
We
really pretty brilliant.
yeah, during my time we never had clubs or travel teams like what you have here in the US. So
Yeah.
we would just represent our school or our city, and then we would go to tournaments. That was it.
That's so amazing. Okay, I never heard about the popsicle sticks at your elbows for your platform. That's crazy, crazy cool. I mean, like I said, I feel like I'm a volleyball nerd right here. Because you think about that, like, yes.
And because we have strong fundamentals, we were really a good team. We would win like
Yes.
tournaments. Yeah, and that's the reason why like I was able to get that scholarship later on too because of my fundamentals.
Yeah. How was it playing in college? Did you enjoy that
Um,
time?
yes, during my time there were no libero. The position was not
Oh,
introduced.
right.
No, the position was introduced after I graduated in 1992.
Yeah.
And back then we would do the side out scoring.
Mm,
So the games were longer.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, do you think if the libero position had been a thing at that time, they would have put you at that position?
most likely. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was a good passer. Yeah.
Yes. The popsicle sticks and the ginger did the trick.
Yes. Yes.
I
Last but
love that. Oh
the
my
rice.
gosh.
The rice gives us the energy.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Calms you down, keeps you strong in your fundamentals. That all right. So it all makes sense. This is why the fundamentals are so strong for
Yes.
you. And why you are like that's your springboard. And again, I'm going to go back to something with my girls with you. I remember my older having a lesson with you, and I had to bring my younger one along. And she wasn't playing volleyball at the time. She was bouncing a volleyball like a basketball. I remember you going over to her and you're like, you got to pass this on the wall 100 times and come back and find me while you were doing the lesson with my older daughter, giving her something to do, which was perfect because
Yes.
it like gave her something to do. She's like, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I love
Can you,
I love
yeah,
I love
those
coaching.
fundamentals.
I love coaching and working with kids because I want to help them. Like I want to help them have good fundamentals. Because
Mhm.
if they don't, it will show later on, and coaches will know.
Yes. Amen. Amen, sister. So let's talk about how you got to the United States because I think this is a really interesting piece. You met your husband in that whole process, correct?
Online. I was
Crazy.
38 years old when I moved to the United States with my kids, Andrea and Ian.
Yeah.
Andrea was only 8, and Ian was 6.5. I was previously married to a Filipino, and that's their dad. Yeah, so that's what brought me here to the United States because of love, because I know that John is a good man, and I wanted
Yeah.
to start a new life with him and his son Jordan. So it was all because of John. That's why I'm here in the US, and that's why Andre and Ian are here with me.
Yeah. And they have benefited just as much as John has benefited from you being here, like all of you. It bears saying that how long have you guys been married?
We,
Many years.
we have been married for 15 years. We met in 2007, and my kids and I did not actually move here until 2009. So for 2 years, we were only communicating on Skype.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Cathy.
yeah, that's the app that we used way back then.
I remember Skype. Yeah.
We got married Valentine's Day in a small wedding salon, and
Oh.
that day there were like 100 plus other couples getting married. So we could only stay inside the wedding salon for like 15 minutes, and after that you go in the garden, you take your pictures, and then we did not even have like a real celebration or honeymoon because after we got married we went to Dunkin' Donuts with the kids, and that was it.
You took the kids to Duncan.
Yes, because that's where they wanted to go, and
Oh my
we've
goodness.
been married for 15 years. Yeah.
That's amazing. How hard was it for Andrea and Ian, your two kids, to move from the
um
Philippines to the States here?
they were used to being with their cousins all the time because I shared the same house with my mom and my siblings. So
Yeah.
when Andrea was actually younger, like, she would cry all the time, and she would even ask me like, "Can you adopt some of my cousins so they can come here too?" Now
Yeah.
Ian was still really young, so I didn't think he had that kind of concept like of being close to it. But he was so scared of going to school because so I had to tell him like, if you don't go to school I will get in trouble. So
Yeah.
I think that kind of motivated him to
Yeah.
to come
It's,
to school.
it's like, okay, mom, I
Yeah,
got you. I
yeah.
got you. That so that transition for them was probably, I mean, it absolutely had ups and downs. But tell me about the transition for you, being away from your family. And did you feel torn for the fact that you love this man and you wanted to start this life with him, but you also have this tight bond with your family? Like, did you feel pulled? Do you feel like you were like it was a challenging decision for you in the end?
I know that John was a good man, so I did not really think twice about moving here because I wanted to start a new life with him, and I
Yeah.
know that this will give my kids better opportunities as they grow.
Yes.
So I had to, sacrifice being away from my family and friends for for a better life, and in process, it also helped me help my family back home because now I'm able to send them something whenever
Yeah.
they need, something.
Yeah. So tell me about how you then ended up getting involved in volleyball in the United States. After you moved here, was that initially, were you playing when you moved here? Were you coach? You decided to coach when you moved here?
Um, when we moved here in the United States, we lived in Philadelphia for 6 months. It was in a
Mhm.
small town called Media, Pennsylvania. We would teach Andre and Ian how to play volleyball on a parking lot. And
Okay.
then, and then we moved to Tennessee, in Franklin, Tennessee, so we can follow my stepson Jordan because when his mom remarried, they moved to Tennessee. So we
Yeah.
wanted to be with him too. So the first summer camp that Andre and Ian attended was actually for Williamson County Parks and Recreation. And it was Coach Tracy Berry who was leading the camp. And she is still actually leading the camp up to this time.
Okay.
So that was the first camp that they attended. And it was also for the Williamson County Parks and Recreation, where I started coaching volleyball
Okay.
because I wanted to coach my kids' team. So I coached this team. The name was Blackheads.
The blockheads. Oh my gosh. Yes. I remember the
It's not the
blockheads.
blackheads that you have on your face. It's a blockheads with an O. Yeah.
No,
So
not
that was
blackheads, blockheads. Yes.
yeah, so that was my first team, and my friend Mary Pantoni helped me coach that team. So I followed that team from the time they were beginners all the way to they were in the advanced level. We were winning all the time for the leagues because again their fundamentals were good, were solid, and
Yeah.
five of those players from that team actually went on and played collegiately. One was
Like big
Andrea.
collegiate.
Andrea went to Furman as a libero. Maddie McGow went to play middle at Christian Brothers. Tori Carpenter played as a setter at Charleston.
Yeah.
Um, Carly Scrabak started at Tennessee Tech, and then she played as a libero for Marquette. They were in the NCAA, and then she finished her fifth year at Cincinnati. And the last one was Logan Eggleston, who played for Texas and was the NCAA Player of the Year the last 2 years. So
Yeah.
how awesome is that? Plus, we also have Sabrina Pantoni, who just recently played for the Nashvillians. Now, the
Yes.
others, they did not play collegiately, but they all graduated and are successful in their chosen career. So it was a blessing and amazing to watch all these girls grow and still stay connected with most of them.
Yeah. Those were the people that you started coaching, Kathy.
Yeah, so that was in the what do you call this in the younger age group. And
Hmm.
then Coach Caroline Peterson, her daughter Gracie Peterson, who played for Pepperdine and
Yes.
just graduated, was also on one of my league team for Williams County Parks and Recs. So it was Coach Caroline Peterson who introduced me to Dean Webb, who was then the club director for Alliance Volleyball Club.
Yeah.
So Dean was the one who offered me my first club team. It was a 12-2 team, and Andrea played for me on that team. And
Yeah.
and Andrea will tell you that I was tougher on her than anybody. And so I coached for Alliance for 11 years. I coached
Yeah.
from beginner all the way to 16. Then when I left Alliance, I coached for M1 here in Spring Hill. So I've been with Spring Hill for M1 Spring Hill for the last 2 years. So it's been 13 years of club volleyball for me. And for school, it was Coach Caroline who introduced me to the headmasters at Brentwood Academy.
Yeah.
So my first school coaching job was as a sixth grade head coach, and I was also an assistant coach for Coach Shari and Brian Christensen. So
Gosh,
I
these are
coached for
huge
them.
names. I don't know, like everybody that's listening would know like all of this stuff, but the people that you have crossed paths with and the things that you have done in those 13 years, it's just amazing. I
Yeah,
think it's
so
amazing.
so I was a BA for 2 years, and then after 2 years, I decided to switch to officiating. But 2 weeks after I started officiating, Coach Tracy Berry called me and asked me, "Can you help me with my freshman team?"
Okay.
So I was like, who am I to say no to a state champion coach? Because Coach Tracy was then the head coach of Ravenwood. So it
Yeah.
was always Ravenwood, Brentwood fighting like in the state tournament. Independence was there too for some years. Yeah, so I was like, sure, I'll do it. So I switched back to coaching.
Yeah.
And then it was also Coach Tracy Berry who helped me get my regular job as a special ed teacher assistant. So I've
Hmm.
been doing that for the past 10 years. Now,
Hmm.
when Coach Tracy Berry retired, Coach Campbell, Coach Barbara Campbell from Brentwood High School, was looking for an assistant coach. So I transferred to Brentwood and I was able to have my kids go to the same school too, which was amazing
Yeah.
because now we're together and now I can watch Andrea play. So who doesn't know Coach Barbara Campbell? 16 state title in
16
16.
state titles with this woman. Yes.
Yes, but she was in the state tournament for like 20 plus times, and
Yeah.
16 of those she won in Division One, AAA, the biggest and toughest competition classification in the state of Tennessee. So
Right.
how awesome is that to say that I was able to be mentored by all these coaches who have won, state titles during their
Hmm.
time. So I was at Brentwood for 8 years, 6 years as an assistant to Coach Campbell. Coach
Yeah.
Algie Noble was also one of the assistant for Coach Campbell. And then the past 2 years, I was the head coach at Brentwood when Coach Campbell retired. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was
And now you just told me before we hit the record button that you have taken a new position as the head coach at Franklin Christian Academy for this upcoming season.
yes. Last year I left Summit High School. I left Brentwood High School, so now I work at
Yeah.
Summit High School. But then I will also be coaching for Franklin Christian Academy.
Are you so excited?
Yes, I'm very excited. It's a small Christian school, and they're planning to move to TSSAA next year. So I'll be
Yeah.
helping the program with the transition. They've won their conference the past 4 years, but this time we're going to be moving to a bigger conference. So this year will be our, what they call it, more like a rebuilding to get ready
So,
for the next level.
but all of that experience that you have over the past 13 years is just going to be so invaluable for those kids that you're going to pour into at that new school. And just I am excited to watch that happen. I think it's going to be brilliant. And knowing that the fundamentals are really the base of your success. Like
Yeah.
it's the base of your success. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thankful too for all the coaches that I've worked with because, like, for Coach Campbell, she exposed me to all this high level training. I
Yeah.
was able to work with coaches from other clubs like Munciana with Mike
Yes.
Ligenfelter, Dan Berggren, college coaches like Coach Lindsay Devine from ETSU, Coach Brandon Rosendahl from Lipscomb,
Mhm.
Andrew Hayden from Kiba, Coach Gary Pruitt, and many others. So I learned from all those coaches during my time at Brentwood, and I was able to also coach with like players who like who wanted something big more than themselves. Like they work together as a team, they play together as a team. So it's really awesome, like the experiences that I've had with
Yeah.
those coaches and the program.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. What has been your favorite coaching position? Your favorite I know you've been an assistant coach, but you've also been a head coach, but at which program, which position has been up to this point has been your favorite?
Definitely Brentwood because I was there for 8 years.
Hmm.
Spent a lot of time for that program.
Yeah.
Like having that experience of being in the state tournament was just amazing. It was like a club team. We travel a lot. We would go to
Yeah.
Kentucky, Atlanta, North Carolina. We even flew to Florida just to attend all these tournaments, and It was non-stop volleyball. Coach Campbell would drive the team bus. We go places.
Oh,
Just awesome.
oh,
All
I
those
love it.
sacrifices were all worth it.
Yeah.
As you know, my kids were able to go to a good
Yes.
school. So and and I always tell this to others. The reason why Andrea was able to play for Furman is because of Coach Campbell's program.
Hmm.
Because a couple of the players from Brentwood actually played for Furman, and one of the alumni's dad, Tim Hall, he was actually the one who told Coach Young about Andrea because he
Yeah.
was watching Andrea during a state tournament.
Yeah.
So the club helped Andrea get better, but through word of mouth because of Tim Hall mentioning Andrea's name, Coach Young was able to take more look at my daughter.
Right.
So I'll always be thankful for Coach Campbell for what she did for
Yeah.
me as a coach and for what the program did for my daughter.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But also, I'm just going to give you a little pat on the back too, because knowing what it was that your daughter needed and being able to make those sacrifices as a mom to give her a better way and to give her a path. I know there's been ups and downs since you've been even in the United States that have been hard for you, that you've had to make choices on to help your daughter and to help both of your children to
Yeah,
get to where they needed to be.
I miss a lot of Andrea's games in middle school and even during club season because I have my own schedule.
Yeah.
Like I would coach 3 league teams in all level. Sometimes I would even coach 1 or 2 club teams all at the same time, so that I can afford to pay Andrea's club fees.
Yeah.
I would work from tryout all the way to February and not get any check because I always tell the club, do not pay me until Andrea's fees are fully paid. I made my
Yeah.
son, I made my son Ian play on an all girls team for 5 years. So he got stuck playing with Logan, Tori, and all these other girls, Carly, and he did not have a choice because back then boys volleyball was not as big as it is now here in Tennessee. So,
Yeah.
so he did not have that choice, and he would go to all these tournaments and just hang out with all these other little brothers and spend the rest of their weekends there. So I think that's kind of like the reason too why he kind of like did not like it as he was getting older, and then he found love in football, but then
Yeah.
he got injured.
Hmm. Yeah. Tell me what your motivating factor is for still coaching, because I feel like even after all of these years, what is it that is your why, if you will?
Coaching is my passion. I love teaching kids. I want them to learn. I want them to get better.
Yeah.
I coach them the same, whether they're beginners or in high school or in middle school. I
Yeah.
expect the same degree of discipline, accountability. I'm known for um, tough love kind of coaching.
Yeah.
I don't play politics. I don't play favorites. I put on the court the players that will best represent the team and the program. I
Yeah.
don't bend to others, which is probably the reason why some parents and players don't like me. But it's okay because I'm not going to compromise my principles
Right.
just for a few when I want to do something more for others that's bigger than just for yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. Has that been hard for you to stick to that philosophy and to that theory for you?
There's been some time where it's been a challenge because I've had some people harass me, threaten me, insulted me,
Hmm.
especially when I became the head coach when I replaced Coach Campbell because people are now probably looking at me like, who are you? You
Yeah.
replace a legend. So now some people might think they can just push me around and tell me what to do, and then when they don't get what they want, that's when the problem begins. But I
Yeah.
just continue to focus on the player, on
Yeah.
the players, on the program, and what I can do for them.
Yeah.
So that kind of like make me forget all these distractions. So there was a time when during my second year as a head coach, I only had 22 players
Mm-hmm.
on the team, and with those 22 players, my freshman team was undefeated in the
Wow.
district. The
So
JV,
22 players across 3 teams?
yes, I made 3 teams out of 22 players.
Wow.
So the freshman team went undefeated in the district. The JV team was second in the region. And varsity was the only one in Williamson County that made it to state. We lost the
Wow.
semifinals in 5 sets by 3 points. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Gosh. So for those that don't know volleyball situations, like indoor, you got 6-on-6, but you got to have enough people to practice that can hold a candle to one another so that you have good competition. So, I mean, do you feel like what is your primary practice concern? Like, what is your primary goal in practice? Is it that fundamental? Is it the
Always focus on
competitions?
fundamentals, and then we do a lot of like game like drills. Like, but you also gotta be focused on what you're doing. You can have fun, but you need to stay focused on what you're doing and
Yeah.
focus on that one goal of working together as a team. You can have the best player on the team, but if they're not helping the others grow, then it's not gonna work.
Yeah, it's being a team player. How much do you demand that team player atmosphere basically? What is it that you
Oh,
demand out of your players in that way?
I want them to be leaders, especially the
Mhm.
older players. And I always tell the players that I don't care what you do at the club season, because if you're playing for the school, you are now representing the school.
Right.
I don't even care which club you play for, because if you're good enough, I will put you on my court. If you
Mhm.
did not play indoor and you only focus on sand volleyball and you're better than the others, you will be playing for me.
Yeah.
So it's always like they know that they need to, not really, what's the right word to say, they need to fight for a spot, because I
Right.
don't I don't keep their playing time. They need to earn it. They need
Earning
to
that
earn it
time.
all the time, because
Yeah.
I feel like it also gives them a sense of pride when they
Right.
know that they work hard for it and that they earn it and that I believe in them, instead of me just putting them on the court because their parents are putting pressure on me.
Yeah. Do you think that's a big thing in the United States versus the Philippines? Like, because I feel like in the Philippines, that basis that you come from and where you were playing at the university is so different versus what we are in travel sports now across the board.
Yes, especially with the playing conditions and different. It's different in the
Yeah.
Philippines. Not everybody has the money, so they gotta work hard for them to be able to go to school. Just like what happened to me.
Yeah.
Because if they are not good volleyball players, then they'll be doing something else and not going to school. Now here in the United States, I always remind my club players that they're always very fortunate to be on the court, because not everybody can afford it.
Yeah.
So I'm more demanding when it comes to club season, because I know how much money, time, effort, and everything the parents are investing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's a small fortune that they're investing in their kids. Yeah. So I look at you in that capacity and go, I appreciate that component of that push and that demanding that you bring your best because it just serves you on all levels of life. And again, I go back to that whole how sports is parallel to life and our experiences outside of our sport. It will serve you. It may not feel great at the time, and both of my kids have been on both ends of the spectrum where that's concerned. So it's there's a wide range in there, but it makes you so grateful for the times that you have, and it makes you appreciate the people that are giving you those those lifts. And when I say lift, I'm talking that demanding, hey, I know you got it in you. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
Definitely, just like with my daughter Andrea, I was tougher on her than most kids, because she knows we're in a position where we don't have the money to send her to college. But
Mhm.
she did her part, studied well, so now she's enjoying her life through all those
Yes.
hard work. Just
Yeah.
like
And
with
we'll
the
just
other players, right?
let's just say it. Like Andrea went to Furman and she went on a full scholarship.
Yes, and she also started as libero for them as a freshman.
Yeah.
And then after she graduated, she was the graduate assistant for a year at Vanderbilt Volleyball. They're just starting with their program, so she was also able to, like help herself with her tuition fee. And she
Yes.
just finished her master's last May, so that was awesome.
That's amazing. What is she doing now?
She's reviewing for the accounting board exams, so
Oh, wow.
and she has a job waiting for her with KPMG. So
That's awesome.
Yes, our future is set. Now, Ian is still doing fine. He loves what he's doing. He works for Martin's Barbecue. He goes
Perfect.
to Columbia Community College. My older stepson Jordan is getting married in August. So everybody's
Oh,
getting older as well as me. Yeah.
you have a full life. You have so full. There's so much going on.
Yes, yes. And then
And
whenever
you have three adorable Labrador retrievers.
I have three, yeah. There's Paul Bratton. They wake us up every day before 5 o'clock.
We're like,
And
we need to eat. Get out of the bed now, humans.
two of them actually sleeps in our bed. So I've been telling John we need a king size bed for everybody.
I love that. Oh gosh. Tell me, how often do you get to see your family? I'm gonna kind of go back to that a bit. Have you been able to go to visit in the last couple of years?
I've only been back once in my 15 years here in the United States. The last time I went was 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wish I can bring my mom here and my siblings, but like I had to focus on my immediate family's need first. But
Right.
but I still help them a lot, like in whatever way I can.
Right.
So I'm hoping that someday I can bring my mom here,
Mhm.
and so she can, like at least see how it feels like to live in the United States.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I think she will be 79 this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think has been, if you could say one or two, it could be more than one, the biggest blessing or blessings that you have had since being here in the United States?
Being able to build a relationship with my players, especially
Mm.
like that first team that I coach, I still stay in touch with those players. Some of them would come to my house, text
Oh,
me. Carly Scrabble is like a second daughter to me, and Logan would all and her sister Shay would come here whenever they're in town, and all the other players from Brentwood and club, like they would come for food. Yeah,
those are
watching
strong.
them grow, becoming
Mm.
successful in their chosen field,
Yeah.
spending the rest of my life with John, knowing that he loves me and my kids unconditionally, giving
Yeah.
all these wonderful opportunities to my kids, you know, in exchange for the sacrifice of me moving here and being away from my family in the Philippines. So it was all worth it.
Yeah. But also are you're able to say and know that you got to work for it.
Yes.
You got to work for it.
Yes.
And you don't back down from that at all.
No, it's all work, work, work. Even through the bad times, you just need to keep going. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Cathy, I love this. I didn't know a lot of that stuff about you after knowing you for how many years.
Because
So
I
thank
work
you.
I work all the time and I don't get to talk to volleyball parents. It's just hi, how we doing? Or
Yeah.
tomorrow we're gonna be in this tournament, etc. So
Yeah. It's always been like really quick little snippets.
yeah,
Oh, well, I'm so glad that we've been able to talk today. But before I let you go, I want to just throw some rapid fire questions your direction just for fun. So the audience can hear the other side of you. Cause I think your personality is like one in a million. I love it. Are you up for that?
yes.
Okay. All right. Rapid fire question number one. What is your favorite season of the year and why?
I used to love summertime because I used
Okay.
to play a lot. I would play indoor, sand, twos, fours, co-ed, sixes, everything. I did that. But when I switched to coaching, my life changed. But
Yeah.
now I would say I love fall season more because of the
Oh,
changing with the colors,
uh-huh.
the weather. Plus, it's also the volleyball season for high school.
Right. That was my first thing. It was like, ooh, this exciting time of the year for high school ball for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially this year for me.
Oh, I can't wait to watch your progress this year. I think it's gonna be amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait. All right. Question number two. What never fails to make you laugh?
My three dogs, because each of them has three different personalities. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just awesome. Like they really love you unconditionally too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you have one of each color, too, don't you?
We have a chocolate, a black. The chocolate is Coco. The black one is Cooper, and the puppy, the yellow one is Cora. Two of them are rescues.
Oh, I love that. And they all get along okay?
Yes, all of them get along well, but Coco would sometimes go crazy when she sees dogs from outside. But when
Oh,
they're in the
she would.
house, they all get along well. But when they see them walking on the street, she goes crazy. I don't know why. And Cora just basically follow Cooper and whatever he does.
That's great. I love it. I think this is another core memory that I have of you. We talked about getting a dog. And I remember you saying at one point, Ian wants a dog. Ian wants to get a dog. He thinks we need to get a dog. We don't need to get a dog. I remember you saying
Yeah,
we didn't need to
uh,
get a dog.
we live in an apartment complex across Centennial for 7 years.
Yeah.
But then the rent was really going high, so John and I took the risk of buying a house. So we
Yeah.
got this house where we are at now. We've been here 7 years. So we always tell the kids we will get a dog because we have our own backyard. So now that we got our own house, Ian was like, you told us that we're
Yeah.
going to get us one. And then Ian, like got injured, dislocated his kneecap, had surgery. So we thought that was the best time to get one. So we got Cooper, and
Yeah.
that was the year before COVID happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And is that like his dog? That's his
Yes,
buddy?
yes, their bodies. Ian is his human. And then
Oh,
when it was about time to go back to school, we were so sad for Cooper. So we got Coco.
yeah. To get a buddy.
So now we have two. And then last year we were over at Target by Spring Hill. They were doing some pet adoption at PetSmart. I think it was PetSmart. And we were actually just planning to buy pizza. But we ended up coming home with a puppy. So now we have three, and that's Cora. Yeah.
You
Sometimes
go
it's
out for pizza and you
stressful.
come home with a
Yeah,
dog.
sometimes it's stressful, especially if they're sick. But
Yeah.
just the joy and love that they give you, it's just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, which brings me to my next question. If your pets could talk, what would they say about you?
Well, hopefully, thank you so much for spoiling us because we have more dog food in our pantry than human food. I don't usually wear makeups, etc. I don't buy all these expensive clothes, but I buy a lot of toys for them too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've seen pictures of them in sweaters too in the winter.
Oh, yeah. I try to get them costumes too and raincoats. So sometimes, like some of John's friend would like make fun of us, give us a hard time because why are your loves wearing raincoats? I just like to dress them up, and then they have sweaters, etc.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. Another question. What is a hidden talent that you have?
I'm good in remembering names. I like to
Okay.
remember names because like when I work with the kids, if I have 30 or 40 plus kids, I want to know their names right away because like if I need to give them some feedback, something, tell them this is how you're supposed to do it. Like I want to know right away like who I'm talking to. So and I feel like it's more personal when I call
Yeah.
them by their names instead of just saying you in blue shirt.
Yeah.
I've been lucky. I can
That's
still
really
remember.
valuable.
I've been forgetful when it comes to other things, but when it comes to remembering names, I can still do it.
No, that's that human connection. That's great. And as a coach, like you said, it means something. I would say to the players too that your coach is like even after they're not playing for you anymore, you remember who they are and you can have that engagement with them too,
Yeah.
which is great. All right, I got one more question for you then I'll let you go on your day. You good?
Yes.
Okay. What is the best advice that you have ever received?
Always be true to yourself, no matter where you are, no matter where you go. Always be true to yourself.
Yeah. Amen, sister.
Some people may
Amen.
not like it, but hey, you gotta love yourself and be true to yourself.
Love yourself, be true to yourself. Mic drop right there. Good job. Yes. Cathy, it's been so good to actually get and talk to you for
Thank you so
more than
much.
just a couple snippets of volleyball. Yes.
Thank you so
I
much
loved
for
it.
inviting me to your podcast. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
so welcome. So welcome. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great start to the season with Franklin Christian Academy.
Yes,
Love that. Can't wait to watch that progression over this year and into next year. It's going to be awesome.
yes,
Yeah.
and I hope you have a great 4th of July.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank
You as
you.
well. Tell hello to everybody in your family,
I
including
will.
those little puppy dogs of
I
yours.
will.
All right. Thanks, Cathy.
Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. If you have an idea for an interview or you would like to share your own story, I would love to hear from you. Send me a message at dawn@thesoulgoals.com. If you enjoyed today's podcast, I'd love for you to leave a review and to consider following and subscribing to the show. With weekly releases, there is always another interesting story to be heard. I do hope that today's guests and their words have helped to bring some extra light to your day and encouraged you to find a deeper space of your very own soul goals. Until next time, friends, remember that everyone has a story, and every story matters.